You've been carrying doubt like a shadow that follows you everywhere. It slips into your thoughts when you're excited about something new. It whispers at night when you dream of a better life. It sits beside you whenever you try to step into a bigger version of yourself. But today, I want you to imagine something different. Imagine waking up and realizing that doubt no longer owns a single corner of your mind. Imagine the quiet confidence of someone who knows their desire is already done. Not someday, not eventually. Now, this shift isn't dramatic. It's not forceful. It doesn't require you to become someone else. It's a gentle but firm recognition of who you already are. The moment you understand the power within you, doubt starts to dissolve. It can't survive in the presence of someone who finally remembers their true nature. You don't fight doubt, you replace it. You don't argue with it, you see through it, you don't try to outrun it. You walk into a state where it simply cannot exist. Doubt only lives where awareness is forgotten. It lives where imagination sleeps. When you begin to use your inner world intentionally, doubt becomes impossible because you stop looking at your current circumstances as evidence. You start looking inward and you realize the only truth that matters is the one you accept for yourself. Doubt grows in the soil of external facts. Faith grows in the garden of inner assumption. And the moment you choose which one you'll believe, you shift your entire destiny. There's a line that says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It doesn't tell you to wait for proof. It tells you that your inner conviction is the evidence. Your feeling is the proof. Your assumption is the substance. So when doubt appears and tries to scare you with what you don't yet see, remind yourself that you're not required to see it. You're only required to feel it. The seen world follows the unseen one. The outer follows the inner, always. Think of a child who believes with absolute certainty that their parent is coming back for them. They don't check the clock every second. They don't panic. They don't say, what if they don't return? They simply assume love will fulfill its promise. That is the kind of inner posture that destroys doubt. Not pressure, not begging, quiet trust. A trust so deep that it becomes your natural breathing. You may look at your life and think, but I've been disappointed before. Things didn't work out. I've been waiting so long. What makes this different? What makes it different is the moment you shift your identity from someone hoping to someone knowing. Doubt belongs to the old you, the you who thought everything depended on effort, hustle, timing, or luck, the you who felt small in comparison to circumstances. But the moment you anchor yourself in the truth that your inner world is the source, not the effect, you step into a new identity, an identity that says, my assumption creates, my inner world commands, my imagination shapes the path ahead of me. Doubt can't survive in the mind of someone who knows where the real power is. Imagine someone who wants to be healed. If they beg for healing, they reinforce the idea that healing is far away. But if they sit quietly and assume the state of being whole, if they feel the relief and peace of already having what they desire, their inner world aligns with a new reality. That assumption becomes their truth, and the outer world rearranges to match it. There's a moment described where a man is told, according to your faith, be it unto you. Notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say according to your circumstances. It doesn't say according to your timing. It doesn't say according to your fears. It says your faith, your inner conviction, your assumption of already being the person you want to be. This is the game changer. Doubt disappears when you stop asking, when will it happen, and start living as though it already has. The fastest way to destroy doubt forever is to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. When you truly live in that state, doubt becomes irrelevant. It may knock on the door, but you won't answer, because its voice no longer has authority. You are not waiting for the world is waiting for you. Think of your desire like a finished book. Every chapter already written, every ending already complete. You're simply reading it page by page. But the last page is already printed. That means the moment your desire was born in you, its fulfillment existed. You're not trying to manifest it. You're aligning yourself with the version of you who already holds it. That version of you doesn't doubt. That version of you doesn't question. That version breathes naturally in certainty. Doubt is a habit, but certainty can become one too. And the simplest way to build certainty is to return again and again to the inner scene where your desire is complete. Feel it. Not as a fantasy, not as a hope, as a fact, a quiet, unquestioned fact. Feel the relief of it. Feel the satisfaction of it. Feel the gratitude of it. Every time doubt tries to rise, gently return to that inner scene. The consistency of your inner state is what rewires your outer world. There's a passage that says, when you pray, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Notice the order. Believe that you have received, then it will be yours. The belief comes first. The experience comes second. This is the reversal of the world's logic. The world says, I'll believe it when I see it. The law says you'll see it when you believe it. When you understand that, something inside you shifts. You stop chasing signs. You stop seeking reassurance. You stop asking for confirmation. You become confirmation. You become the version of you who already has the thing you desire. And once you do, doubt has nothing left to grab onto. It dissolves because you are no longer vibrating in maybe. You're vibrating in done. You're no longer sitting on the fence between belief and disbelief. You're sitting firmly in the knowing that your assumption is law. Think of someone stepping into a warm room after being out in the cold. At first, their body still remembers the cold. Their hands tremble. Their skin tingles. But as they stay in the warmth, the cold fades. It can't stay. That's how it works with doubt. Doubt is the old temperature, but the state of the wish fulfilled is the warmth. Stay there long enough and the old sensations disappear. Not because you fought them, but because you replaced them. Your new inner temperature becomes natural. And once you live in that temperature consistently, everything outside begins to match it. Opportunities shift, people shift, circumstances shift, paths appear. The outer world must obey the inner world. It always has. It always will. Let yourself feel what it's like to already have the life you desire. Don't imagine it as something distant. Imagine it as something now. Imagine the conversations you'd have, the confidence you'd carry, the peace you'd feel, the gratitude that would naturally rise in your chest. Let that become your home. Let that become the place you return to when doubt tries to tempt you. You are not trying to believe. You are remembering. You are remembering what has always been true about you, that your imagination is your creative power, that your assumptions carve reality, that your inner world holds the blueprint of your outer life. Doubt isn't your enemy. It's simply a sign that you've momentarily forgotten who you are, and now you're remembering. You're recognizing your utility. You're stepping into your true identity, the identity that doesn't plead, it decides. The identity that doesn't wait, it assumes. The identity that doesn't question, it knows. Hold that knowing close. Let it live in your breath. Let it steady your heart. Let it color your thoughts. When you move through your day, act from the inner fulfillment, not the outer lack. When you speak, let your words come from the version of you who already has everything. When you rest at night, slip into the feeling of completion. Let your imagination become your sanctuary, and as you do, doubt will fall away, not because you fought it, but because you outgrew it, because you stepped into a higher truth, because you chose faith over fear, assumption over hesitation, certainty over questioning. This is the game changer. This is the shift. This is the moment everything begins to move in your favor. And it begins within you right now with one simple choice: to live in the end and let doubt dissolve in the light of your new conviction. When you decide to live in the end, you stop measuring your progress by what the world shows you. You stop checking for signs like someone waiting at the window for a late guest. You move through your day with a calm inner certainty because you've already accepted the truth of your desire. The world is only catching up to you. That quiet confidence is what transforms your entire experience. It changes how you speak, how you carry yourself, and how you react to things that used to shake you. There's a line that says, "The kingdom is within you." That means the source of everything you're seeking isn't outside. It's not in someone else's approval or in the timing of events or in the circumstances that seem fixed. It's within. The moment you accept this, doubt loses its foundation. If the kingdom is within, then all creation begins within. If all creation begins within, then your assumption is the cause. And if your assumption is the cause, then nothing outside of you has the right to contradict your inner choice. Think of someone planting a seed. They put it in the soil, cover it, water it, and walk away. They don't dig it up tomorrow to check if it's growing. They don't panic when they don't see sprouts on day 2. They trust the unseen process. They know that the moment the seed was planted, something already started. This is how you treat your desire. The moment you assume it's done, the moment you feel the fulfillment within, something begins. You may not see movement immediately, but the unseen process is already underway. Doubt comes when you forget the seed is alive, even when nothing appears above the surface. Certainty comes when you trust the invisible stages just as much as the visible ones. Your desire has a life of its own once you assume it. It moves, it grows, it reaches, it arranges people and paths and timing. Your job is not to control the how. Your only role is to remain faithful to the inner, knowing that it is already yours. Sometimes you look at your life and feel like nothing is changing, but change often happens in the silence, in the stillness, in the unseen layers of reality. It's like the way morning arrives. The world is dark, then slowly, almost unnoticeably, the sky begins to lighten. You may not see the sun yet, but the shift is already happening. The light is already on its way. That's how fulfillment moves. Quietly, steadily, faithfully. The fastest way to destroy doubt is to stop questioning the timing of your manifestation. When you question timing, you slip back into the old identity. The identity that thinks the outer world is in charge. When you affirm the state of the wish fulfilled, you return to your true position. You rise above time. You rise above appearances. You rise above fear. You become the cause again. Every time you imagine yourself as the person who already has your desire, you are choosing a new reality. You're not daydreaming. You're selecting. You're occupying. You're stepping into a version of yourself that already exists in the infinite. When you hold that state long enough, it becomes natural. And what becomes natural must eventually become visible. There's a moment where someone is told all things are possible to the one who believes. Not some things, not a few things. All. This is the invitation to live boldly within your imagination, to claim the life that feels impossible to your old self, but perfectly normal to your true self. Doubt will tell you it's too big, too late, too unrealistic. But belief, real belief, doesn't measure possibility by the world. It measures by the inner source. When you feel yourself slipping back into worry, pause, take a breath, shift inward. Ask yourself, what would I feel right now if it were already done? Not how would it happen, not when will it show up, only what would I feel? Let that become your anchor, because the feeling is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. The feeling is what communicates your decision to the deeper layers of reality. This is why your imagination matters more than anything. Your imagination is not a fantasy tool. It's your creative power. It is the space where you choose your identity, where you accept a new truth, where you claim a new reality before it appears. People who master this understand that imagination is not something you use occasionally, it's something you dwell in. It's the home you return to again and again. Doubt can only survive when you live from your senses instead of your imagination. But the moment you shift the source of your truth from outer evidence to inner conviction, doubt becomes weak. It loses its weight. It loses its influence. It becomes nothing more than an old reflex that no longer fits the new you. You may have spent years waiting for life to change, but life changes the moment you do, not through force, not through effort, but through a quiet internal choice. You choose the end. You choose the feeling. You choose the identity, and then you let the world mirror it back to you in its own perfect way. There's a place within you that is untouched by fear, a place where your desire is already fulfilled, a place where you are whole, complete, and confident. When you rest in that place, you move through life differently. Your steps become lighter. Your decisions become clearer. Your heart becomes steadier. You stop reacting to the world and start shaping it. Let yourself return to that inner center as often as you need, not through straying, through gentle remembrance, through the kind of quiet trust that grows a little stronger each time you choose it. And as this trust grows, doubt fades. It can't follow you into a higher state. It falls away like old skin, revealing a version of you that has always been there beneath the noise. Stay with the end in mind. Stay with the knowing. Stay with the feeling. Let the outer world unfold in its own time while you rest in the truth that your assumption is already the foundation of your reality. This is the path. This is the shift. This is the moment where everything begins to change within you, and because of that, everything must eventually change around you. When you hold the end long enough, something subtle begins to happen in your mind. The old thoughts that used to trouble you lose their strength. The doubts that once felt heavy start to sound almost distant. like an echo from a life you don't live anymore. You begin to notice a new voice rising within you, a calm, grounded assurance that whispers, "It's already yours." This inner shift isn't loud, it isn't dramatic, but it's powerful because it marks the moment your inner state becomes more real to you than anything outside. This is where true transformation begins. Not when the world changes, but when your inner reaction to the world changes. You stop chasing, you stop comparing, you stop worrying, because you know that your reality is created from within. This knowing becomes your protection. It becomes your confidence. It becomes the light that leads you even when things look unclear. There's a line that says, "Let it be done to you according to your belief." That statement is a reminder that you are not living life as a victim of chance. You are participating in creation through your assumptions. When you believe in the fulfillment of your desire, life reorganizes itself around that belief. When you cling to doubt, the world mirrors that uncertainty back to you. But when you stand firm in your inner conviction, you anchor yourself in a state that cannot fail. Imagine someone waiting for a letter they know is already on the way. They don't pace the room. They don't ask the mailman every hour. They know it's coming because they trust the moment it was sent. That's how you treat your desire. Once you assume the reality of it within, you trust the unseen delivery. Even before you see it on the horizon, you know it's moving toward you. This trust isn't passive, it's active. It shapes the way you speak, the way you think, the way you move. You start acting like someone who already has what they want, not in a forced way, but naturally. Your inner world leads your outer behavior. Your imagination leads your steps. That's when doors open that you didn't even know existed. That's when opportunities find you without effort. Doubt fades when you stop giving your senses the authority to dictate your truth. Your senses only show you what has already been created. They're looking at the past. Your imagination shows you what is becoming. It shows you the seed of the future. And when you choose imagination over appearance, you choose creation over repetition. You choose expansion over limitation. If a painter looked only at a blank canvas and said, "There's nothing here, so nothing can be created," they would never paint. They see beyond the blankness. They see the image before it appears. That's what it means to live from the wish fulfilled. You see the masterpiece even when the canvas of your life looks empty. You trust your inner vision more than the outer picture. The more you return to the feeling of your fulfilled desire, the more it begins to shape you. You start waking up with more peace. You start noticing subtle hints of movement. You feel more aligned, more centered, more guided. You stop reacting to temporary setbacks because you no longer see them as signs of failure. You see them as part of the invisible process unfolding in your favor. There's a line that says, "Walk by faith, not by sight." That means you move through life guided by your inner conviction, not your outer conditions. You don't wait for evidence to believe. You believe because your inner knowing is enough. You don't let doubt creep in through small delays. You trust the timing because you know the fulfillment already exists. As you practice this trust, a new clarity rises in you. You begin to understand that doubt was never the problem. Doubt was only the absence of inner vision. The more vividly you hold the end, the less doubt has space to exist. It's like switching on a light. You don't fight the darkness. You simply turn on the light, and darkness disappears because it cannot exist in the same place. Every time you choose the feeling of it is done, you're turning on that light. Every time you return to your inner scene, you strengthen the truth of your desire. Every time you speak from the identity of the fulfilled version of yourself, you open the way for that version to express itself in your outer world. Soon, you begin to notice how naturally confidence grows. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop overthinking. You stop looking for reassurance. You feel grounded in a deeper truth. Your desire no longer feels far away. It feels like a memory you're walking toward. You feel connected to it, aligned with it, merged with it. And when doubt tries to whisper again, its voice feels out of place. It doesn't match the new state you've accepted. It doesn't fit the person you're becoming. You recognize it for what it is, an old habit, not a truth. And because you see it clearly, it no longer holds power over you. This is how you rise above doubt without fighting it. You transcend it by choosing a higher state. You dissolve it by living from the end. You overpower it by remembering who you are and where your true authority comes from. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes, and the more your outer life begins to reflect the inner changes you've made. You notice coincidences that aren't coincidences. You see paths opening that once seemed blocked. You feel supported by something greater than your logic. You begin to understand that you were never waiting on life. Life was waiting on you to decide, and now that you've chosen the end, now that you've embraced the fulfilled state, everything around you begins to shift to match your new assumption. Once you begin moving through the world with this new inner certainty, you start noticing how different everything feels. Situations that once stirred anxiety now seem harmless. Conversations that used to trigger insecurity no longer shake you. You respond to life from a deeper place, a steadier place, because your focus is no longer scattered. You've anchored it in the end. And that clarity radiates through everything you do. You might even realize that doubt was never truly yours. It was borrowed. It came from old stories, old memories, old voices that convinced you to trust circumstances more than your inner power. But now you're seeing that those voices were never the final authority. They were only loud. And loud doesn't mean true. Your truth is becoming clearer. Your inner voice is becoming stronger. You are beginning to understand that your desire wasn't placed in your heart to tease you or torment you. It was placed there because the fulfillment already exists. The desire is the invitation. The inner feeling is the pathway. The assumption is the bridge that carries you from where you are to where you want to be. There's a line that says, "As you have believed, so it shall be." That isn't a suggestion. It's a statement of law. It means your inner belief is what shapes the experience you eventually walk into. When you choose to believe in the end, you align yourself with a reality that cannot be denied. Every time you revisit the feeling of your fulfilled desire, you reinforce that belief. You're training your mind to accept the new story as the only story. You're teaching your body what it feels like to live in the reality you want. You're letting your emotions adjust to a new normal. It's like tuning a musical instrument. At first, the sound is off. It wavers. It doesn't ring true. But with each adjustment, it gets closer. And then one moment comes when the note hits perfectly. That's how alignment feels. Your inner world clicks into place. Your assumption becomes effortless. Your belief feels natural. When you reach that point, doubt tries to get your attention, but you no longer take it seriously. It feels like someone calling your name from a life you no longer live. You hear it, but you don't turn around. You don't entertain it. You've moved on. This is the shift that changes everything. Not because the world has changed yet, but because you've changed your relationship with it. You're no longer reacting to the world. You're instructing it. You're not waiting for signs. You're becoming the sign. As you continue to dwell in the fulfilled state, you'll notice that your imagination becomes richer. Your inner scenes become clearer. Your emotional connection to your desire deepens. And the more real it feels on the inside, the closer it moves toward expression on the outside. This is why returning to your inner world consistently matters. Not with force, not with stress, but with gentle familiarity. You're visiting the life that already belongs to you. You're aligning with the version of you that already knows the way. You're stepping into a timeline where your desire is ordinary, natural, and expected. People might look at your life and wonder how things began to turn around. They may think you got lucky. They may think it was timing. They may think it was coincidence. But you'll know the truth. You'll know that everything began the moment you chose to believe in the inner reality more than the outer one. And as you hold that inner reality more faithfully, you'll start noticing small shifts. Not always dramatic, sometimes subtle. A conversation that aligns perfectly. A message at the right moment. An opportunity that seems tailor-made. A change in someone's attitude. A door opening that once seemed locked. These shifts aren't accidents. They're reflections. They're confirmations of the inner work you've been doing. They're signs that the world is bending to your assumption, reorganizing itself around your new identity. It becomes easier to trust the process because you're beginning to feel it working. Not just see it eventually, but feel it now. You sense the movement even in the silence. You feel the unfolding even before it's visible. And this inner feeling becomes your steady companion. You walk with more assurance. You speak with more intention. You think with more clarity. You carry yourself like someone who knows their life is unfolding exactly as it should. And the beautiful part is that this inner state doesn't require effort to maintain. It becomes natural the more you return to it. It becomes familiar. It becomes home. The old version of you, the one who doubted, the one who questioned, the one who feared, begins to fade into the background. Not because you pushed it away, but because you rose into a higher state of awareness. You stepped into a deeper truth. You chose a new identity and allowed everything else to fall away. And each day that you live in this state, your outer world will continue to shift, continue to match, continue to reflect the inner certainty you've chosen. As you continue choosing this inner certainty, you'll notice something else begin to change. Your actions soften. You stop taking temporary appearances so seriously. You stop assuming delays mean denial. You stop letting fear rewrite the story. There's a calmness that grows inside you, a kind of quiet strength that doesn't need proof to feel secure. You start to realize that the outer world is not the authority anymore. You are. Life begins to feel more cooperative. Even when challenges appear, they don't shake you because you no longer judge your journey by what you see. You judge it by what you know within, and what you know is steady. It doesn't rise and fall with circumstances. It doesn't depend on anyone else's choices. It doesn't crumble when something unexpected happens. Your knowing becomes the foundation beneath your feet. There's a moment where someone says, if you can believe, all things are possible. That message isn't about forcing belief. It's about understanding that belief is the gateway. Your inner assumption is the opening through which the unseen becomes the seen. The moment you align with that belief, possibilities rise around you that you never noticed before. It's not that life suddenly becomes easier. It's that you become clearer. You begin to interpret life from a higher perspective. You start making decisions from the end rather than from fear. You start responding to situations with a stability that surprises even you. You feel guided, lifted, supported by something deeper than reason. And that guidance becomes your rhythm. It becomes your way of moving through the world. When doubt tries to return, it feels like a guest knocking on a door that no longer leads to your home. You've changed addresses. You're living in a new inner state now. And because you've changed internally, the old patterns can't stay. They don't find a place to land anymore. You realize the real shift wasn't about controlling your thoughts or forcing positivity. It was about choosing your identity. The moment you chose to become the version of yourself who already has what you desire, the old identity lost its power. That identity was made of doubt, hesitation, and fear. But your new identity, rooted in certainty, doesn't have space for those things. It's like learning to breathe in a new atmosphere. At first, the air feels different. You're adjusting, you're expanding, but soon it becomes natural. You begin to breathe confidence the same way you once breathed doubt. It becomes automatic. It becomes your new normal. As you settle into this new normal, your desires stop feeling distant. They stop feeling like goals you're trying to reach. Instead, they feel like extensions of who you are. They feel like natural expressions of your inner world. And because of that, receiving them feels inevitable. You walk into situations expecting alignment rather than disappointment. You move through your day expecting support rather than resistance. You speak with the tone of someone who knows things are unfolding in their favor, even if they can't see every step ahead. Little moments begin to confirm this shift. You might find yourself smiling at something that once stressed you. You might feel a quiet reassurance when a small delay happens. You might notice a sudden clarity in conversations or decisions. These are signs that your inner state is leading, not your old pattern. There's a line that says, a good tree cannot bear bad fruit. That means the state you occupy within determines what grows in your life. When you dwell in the fulfilled state, only fulfillment can flow from it. When you dwell in certainty, only alignment can form from it. When you dwell in love, only expansion can emerge. You're nurturing a new tree now, one rooted in belief, imagination, and inner authority. And as it grows, the fruit will appear in ways that surprise you. People will act differently around you. Opportunities will align more naturally. Things that once felt out of reach will begin to meet you halfway. This inner shift also changes how you see yourself. You begin to trust your own voice. You begin to rely on your own intuition. You stop shrinking your desires because of circumstances. You stop questioning whether you're worthy or capable. Your self-concept rises not through effort, but through recognition. You're seeing yourself as you truly are, not as you were taught to believe. The moment you hold the end long enough, you start to embody it. It shows in your posture, your tone, your energy, People might not know what changed, but they feel it. You carry a different presence, and that presence invites new things into your life, things that match the state you've chosen. The world begins responding to you as if it recognizes who you've become. Paths open, situations align, conversations flow in surprising ways. You feel like you're being carried by something deeper, and in truth, you are. You're being carried by your own assumption, your own inner conviction, your own chosen identity. And every day you choose this state, every day you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, every day you trust the unseen process, you strengthen the foundation beneath you. You become unshakable, not because life stops moving, but because you've learned to move with it from a higher place. As we close this message, remember this isn't just another speech. It's a reminder of what's already inside you. You've carried pain, hope, fear, and courage all at once, and you're still standing. That alone proves you're capable of far more than you think. Whatever you're facing right now, don't step back. Lean into it. Trust the strength that got you here. Trust the vision that keeps pulling at you. And trust that every step you take, even shaky ones, are shaping a future you can be proud of. You weren't created to stay small. You weren't created to doubt your own light. You were created to rise, to push, to transform. So take this energy with you. Let it guide you. Let it remind you that no dream is too far and no moment is too late. Thank you for listening, and thank you for choosing to keep going. Your next chapter starts now.